Okay, in this video I'm going to show you how to go to GitHub and clone your code from there so that you can begin editing it. So everyone for Homework 3 has a repository, and it's under tuftsdev /EE200-homework3, and then a unique identifier for you. So that's the first letter of your first name plus your last name, so in my case, sbell. And here you can see all your code. The README will be shown down below, and you can browse through it there. But now I'm going to go ahead and clone that code to the Linux cluster so that I can edit it there. So you'll click the green code button, and you'll get several options here. Please use SSH. So HTTPS is going to disappear. GitHub's going to remove that option within a few weeks. So go ahead and just get SSH set up. You can click here to just copy it, and then we can go over to the Linux cluster and clone that code. Okay, so I've already logged in, so I'm going to go into the EE200 directory that I've created before, and I can now run git clone this repository. And it attempts to do this, but then says permission denied, public key, couldn't read from the remote repository. And so it says make sure that the repository exists and that I have correct access rights. You might also here get a message about didn't recognize the RSA key for GitHub, and you have to type yes. You only have to do that once. The basic problem here is that there isn't any link between my user login on this computer and my account on GitHub. So to fix that, we're going to add an SSH key here and then import that into GitHub as our identity. Okay, so to add an SSH key, I need to go into the SSH directory, or at least that's the standard place to save all of our keys. So I'm going to go cd ... to go back to my home directory, and then cd.ssh to go into the SSH folder. I noticed that when I did ls, it didn't show up here in the list of files. That's because anything with a dot at the beginning of the name is considered a hidden file or a hidden folder, and won't be shown when you do ls unless you do ls-a. So, and now if you do -a, then you can see everything listed, including the SSH folder. Okay, so here we are in the SSH folder. I need to run Ssh Keygen to generate a key. So it's going to ask me what I would like to call it. Let's call this GitHub. You can put a password on it so that when you try to use this key, you'll be asked for this passphrase. I'm not going to do that. I'll just let it use it automatically. Okay, so now it's created two new files. So GitHub and GitHub.pub. GitHub is going to be my private key. I shouldn't share that anywhere. I should keep that secure. GitHub.pub is the public key that I'm going to copy over to GitHub. So I can do cat github.pub. So cat is going to print the contents of a file just out to the terminal. I could, of course, open it up in Vim or something, but cat is a little bit quicker. I can use Control-Shift-C to copy this, and then I'm going to need to go put this in as a key on GitHub. So I'm going to click on the top right on my profile, go down to Settings. Over on the left, I have an option for SSH keys, and add a new SSH key. So Linux cluster. And then I can paste that in, and click Add SSH key. It may here at this point ask you to type in your GitHub password, because this is a special operation where you're adding privileges for a new device. You'll need to enter your GitHub password there. Okay, so now I can go back to my repository and copy that there. Okay, and I can now try to do git clone, and it still doesn't work. Okay, we've got to do one more thing before this will work. We need to make sure that the key will actually get used when we try to connect to GitHub. So to do this, we are going to have to edit a configuration file for SSH. There's actually a couple different ways to do this. You can use SSH agent, but I'm going to show you a different way. So let's go to the SSH, and we're going to edit just the file config. And here we'll say for the host github.com, use the identity file GitHub that we just created. Okay, and then :WQ to save that file. All right, now let's go back to EE200 and git clone, and third time's the charm. Here it is. Okay, so now we can cd into this directory, and we can see all of the files, and we can go ahead and look at the README, for example. Okay, that's it for this video. In the next video, we'll talk about compiling your code, and so you can actually get started working on each of these problems.